Okay, I've moved a few of these around here. I wanted to show you a little bit about what to look for when you're thinking about purchasing a Belgian honing stone. There are several things that you need to look for. Some things indicate that the stone was actually manufactured and put together. Some indicate that the stone is completely natural. And some indicate that the stone actually, while it was manufactured, may actually have been produced from a slurry or crushed up tailings from the mine and refashioned into a new stone. These don't always mean that the stone is better or worse than one of the others, but I tend to find that the natural stones that were not glued together or manufactured tend to be some of the better ones. Not always, because oftentimes these that were put together, it was the only way to provide some of the better part of the stone. Usually when you're talking about the Belgian honing stone, what you consider most is you consider the buff colored side, which is the side that you use for the sharpening. And the slate or the back side really is not of a whole lot of use, and it's mostly there just to present you with a larger stone than you would have had if you just had this thin buff colored strata on the stone. And if you look at these stones, these are all about 1.5 inches, 1 3/4 wide. Yeah, 1 5/8 inches. They're all about 7 inches long. And the thickness on them usually doesn't make any difference because you're really only considering or wanting the buff color. You don't really use that purple section that much. Here's what you look for. Anytime you're looking for a stone, and that stone has an irregular edge, and you can tell that this is a natural stone. When it was mined, it was cut with the lower strata already attached to the upper strata. In this case, a little bit of the purple is already coming through. And these are the stones that I believe you're going to get the best results, and in a lot of cases are the most highly sought after. You'll see ones like this. This stone truly, although it's very dirty, and we'll have a later video on cleaning these up and flattening them. This stone presents a tremendous value because you have a whole lot of the buff. You have over 1/4 inch, somewhere about 1/2 inch on some areas. 1/2 inch over here. This is a great stone, although someone has drilled a hole through it, probably to hang it on a nail or something. Who knows? That's a natural stone. You get into this stone. This stone, although there's a irregular, it's thinner over here than it is here. This stone is not a completely natural stone. It has been glued together. It has been glued onto this slate to present you with a heavier, a more fully and easy to use stone. This stone is probably just as quality as some of these others. It just is indicative of one that has been glued together. And this is what I'm talking about. This stone looks like it has both of the layers, but as you can see, this one has separated. The glue has come loose I don't really know if that's indicative of it being a poor quality stone or not, but this is a natural stone. You can actually tell by the break on here. And if I were to need to use this stone, I probably would just re-glue it together with some epoxy glue. And it probably would be fine and last me a lifetime. But this does show you how they take these stones, and you can see the remnants of the glue on the stones. When you're buying a stone sight unseen and you only see it from photos, this stone looks like a great stone. Somebody is already attempting to flatten it. You can see where they've started doing some flattening. But then if you really get a good picture on this stone, if you see, by the time they get this stone flattened, this stone is going to have such a small amount of the buff strata that it's not going to be worth much, and it's certainly not going to last long. So sometimes you have to watch out for stones that are photographed showing this. They may show the back side, but they oftentimes will not show the side, or at least maybe only part of it. So if you look at the whole side, especially if you look down, if I can get it to show, you can see it's very cupped. Now this would be a good stone if you wanted to use it for a pocket knife, something where you didn't need it to be completely flat. It wouldn't be a good chisel or a plain blade stone because of that. So the last thing that I wanted to show you, and I bought this stone recently just to check out the quality, and this is probably a very good user stone. It really was quite expensive. I think it was almost $60 or so. But this is a stone that I bought through a catalog from a big company called Dick in Germany. And they have a wonderful woodworking catalog. They have some great tools. But this is a stone that has been formulated. It has been, even though it looks like it's a natural stone, if you really start to look close, you will see that there is a very small remnant of the original strata on there, and then all of this on top is new. It's very uniform. It's very speckled. That oftentimes is an indication that this has been formulated from crushed up stone, and they have attached it with adhesive to the remnants of an old stone. And I've actually used this stone. It works very well, and it may be every bit the quality of the other, but you do need to know what you're looking for. And if you see one like this, especially one that has 3 very distinct layers, you may have one that was actually a manufactured stone. Another thing that I wanted to show you, if I can find a copy, find one. See here, there's some smaller stones. Here's one that's very natural. This is a very good stone. And this is my personal opinion, this stone, although it wasn't nearly as expensive at the time that I bought it 20 years ago as this one that I recently got from the manufacturer, this stone is worth a lot more money. You'll find them in little stones. This is a natural stone. You'll find them often that are really quite pronounced as far as the different strata. And I may not be exactly right on the quality issue, but in my mind and from my use of these stones over the last 30 or 40 years, I would take these natural ones any day over the manufactured ones that were done from crushed up stones. Take a look at this stone. Just a little. This is probably a 6-inch stone. You can see where I've started to flatten it to make this good. But look at that. It's got a huge amount of the buff colored on there. And that's a very nice stone. You'll find some over here. You'll also see some of the ones that we'll look at later on that have different, you'll find a gradient. Like you'll see the purple, you'll see other purple and then slate and purple and slate. And you can tell it's just different stratas of the stone. But as long as it ends up with this nice buff colored, which is what you're wanting for your sharpening needs, that's what you need to do. So let's end this one here. I'll come back and we'll take a look at some of the other manufacturers that got into the Belgian honing stone business. We'll take a look at some of the prime stones that you can find. These are just user stones. You can find a lot of them. You can find them on eBay. They'll probably run you anywhere from $70 to $300 or $400 depending upon some of the ones you find. You find one like this with that much on there, and that stone's going to go for a good bit of money. But these are good stones. They're good for shaving, I'm told, although I don't use them for that. And they're great in the woodworking shop. So I want to thank you for joining me. I would like, if you wouldn't mind, to subscribe to my channel. That way you'll get notification of future videos. And you come back and we'll take a look at some other things. And thank you for joining me. Period Woodworker here.